Hey y'all, it's Russell and Denise back with another episode of the WellCast Navigating Student Wellbeing. This is episode 10, Exam Stress and Therapy Fluffies.
Yippee!
Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So hi everyone, my name's Denise. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm one of the student leads of marketing for the Wells Active Minds.
Awesome. So for our viewers out there that don't know what Therapy Fluffies is, what is Therapy Fluffies?
Yeah, so Therapy Fluffies is a super awesome event that with Active Minds, we hold for stress relief purposes for y'all here on campus. It's at both libraries, Orbach and Rivera, where we bring in dogs and cats so y'all can pet them, check out some resources, all of that, and it's pretty awesome. We hold it every week 10, every single quarter, right before finals. So this year it'll be on December 4th from 12 to 2 p.m.
Yeah. So yeah, Therapy Fluffies is a lot of fun. A lot of the time, even at both libraries, like a lot of people come, and it's a really fun event, especially during week 10 when you're studying for finals. It can get really stressful, because literally the next week is finals week. And on the topic of exam stress, finals are coming up. How do we feel about that?
I'm actually not feeling too bad.
Okay,
I think
nice.
it's very valid to feel stressed out because it is a lot to deal with, taking exams, studying and managing like all your other responsibilities. But I think everyone, we got this.
Yeah. I feel like during exam season, and I feel like a lot of viewers can relate, it feels like you're kind of juggling a lot of things during exam seasons, which is basically kind of like the whole quarter, to be honest, because you could have a midterm I've had a midterm week 9 before, so it gets kind of wild. But yeah, it's hard when students like myself and like yourself have to juggle a lot of things, whether that be working at a job and everything while studying, keeping up with your relationships and everything, keeping time for yourself, remembering to drink water and eat. It could get really stressful and very hectic and complicated at times. So for those viewers out there that are struggling with that, do you have any tips, mental health tips, any well-being tips in general?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I manage my stress and just dealing with exam season in general, I keep a very detailed calendar. So if I need to, I schedule in times to cook, clean, break times, especially if I'm doing some hardcore study sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I will absolutely make sure okay, I need to take I don't know, a 30-minute to an hour break if I've been going at it for a few hours if need be. Setting boundaries with those around you. So if your friends want to go out, maybe be hey, these are my priorities. I'm already stressed out. Let's reschedule to another time. And just making sure you're taking care of your basic needs, making sure you're eating lunch, breakfast, dinner, all of that. Maybe taking a walk, taking a breather, just typical mental health, self-care tips. Even though they seem simple or kind of basic knowledge, it's hard to put it into practice sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just try to remind myself okay, I need to take care of myself above everything else while still getting all of my responsibilities done. And it helps me to write it down or have it in a calendar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I could totally relate. And I think I've said this in previous episodes before, but it's scientifically proven that eating better and sleeping better is correlated with better results in your exams and everything. And it helps you be more efficient when you're studying and everything. And I also read this one thing before that said, in relation to time management, if you give yourself, say, 2 hours to complete something, you'll complete it in those 2 hours. But if you give yourself the whole day,
right,
you're gonna start procrastinating. I find that if I'm sitting at my desk and I'm okay, I'm gonna study, but I don't give myself a deadline or a time limit or a time frame where I should have completed something, then I'm just gonna drift off and lose my focus and everything.
Yeah.
So that's a little tip from me and everything, and from us is set checkpoints and give yourself time to do certain things. This hour is for cooking, this hour is for relaxing, but these hours are for studying.
Yeah, set your specific goals while you're studying too, literally what you just said. But so with exam season, I know a lot of students other than dealing with stress and managing just everything going on, I know a lot of people deal with imposter syndrome or feeling my peers are doing this and that and I'm only doing this, things like that, right? Do you have any tips for those dealing with imposter syndrome, and do you deal with it yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the majority of students in college face imposter syndrome. Especially for those that are first gen. For their parents didn't go to college. They don't have as much resources to know how to navigate college life. It's a lot harder for there's a lot more barriers for students that are first gen. I know a lot of UCR students are first gen. But the number one thing I tell myself and that I tell people that are facing imposter syndrome is that you are where you're supposed to be. Like, you belong here. Like, you are going to school for a reason. You are in your classes for a reason, and you belong. And I've definitely felt like, oh, like, dang, like, I did so bad on this test. Like, comparing myself to others, like, oh, this person got a better score than me. Like, dang, like I would put myself, like, I would almost, like, put myself below them. Like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, I don't deserve to be taking these classes. Like, I'm not up to par with these other people. But I think to myself, like, these people around me are not, like, my competition. Like, and on a side note, like, I feel like UCR is a very inclusive environment to where no one's like I haven't really experienced anybody that's, like, competing against me. But on the topic of, like, comparing myself to others, like, I just had to tell myself, like, it's not even me versus me, it's just me and me. Like, I'm helping myself out. Like, I'm my own best friend. And I'm also the one that's trying to do better than, like, me before. Like, I'm my only like reference of comparison. Like, I shouldn't be comparing myself to others. I should just be comparing myself to myself. And as long as I'm, like, trying my best every single time I take a test, then I can't be telling myself, like, oh, you don't belong here, because, again, for all the viewers out there, you belong. So yeah, what do you have to say about imposter syndrome?
I think I've dealt with similar things, like, comparing myself to other students, like, in regards to, like, test scores and stuff like that. But I think my big thing with imposter syndrome is, like, the workload, or, like, how much I'm doing. So I have, like, a thing where, like, oh, this person's, like, they have their exam, but they're going to all their club meetings or extracurriculars, and I myself am like, oh, I need to lock in for my exams, and, like, it's a lot. Like, it can be really overwhelming, and then I find myself comparing and being like, why can't, like, I what is the word, like, divulge more time towards, like, extracurriculars, other hobbies and things like that. But you said it, like, perfectly. Like, it's me and me. Like, I don't need to be, like, comparing myself to somebody else. Like, I'm where I need to be. I'm doing my best, and that's literally perfect enough.
Yeah, and every person is different. So it's, like, it's hard to, it's not valid to compare yourself to other people too, because that person has had different experience, different things they had to face. They're going through their own struggles too. So on the topic of, like, comparing yourself to others, it's just, it really doesn't help you in the long run, especially if adding the stress of, like, final season and just, like, being a college student in general. Like, exam season can be really isolating. Like, you have less time to hang out with your friends, less time to talk with your, like, family and everything. Again, it's important to balance and everything, but on the topic of feeling isolated, we just wanted to express that you're not alone, but also that there are resources out there to help, specifically with your potential academic struggles. One being the ARC, or the Academic Resource Center. So the ARC has tutoring, they have supplemental instruction to help you out if you are needing assistance in any of the material in your classes and everything. Are there any other resources for students?
Yeah, so I think one other amazing resource here on campus would be our counseling and psychological services. We also call it CAPS. That's basically, like, if you need that extra support or support from a clinician, if you're struggling with mental health, things like that. And we all know that exam season it's tough. So that's completely okay if you do need that type of support. So CAPS is an amazing team here on campus with, like, licensed therapists, psychologists, just, your clinicians. So if you need to go, they're at the Student Health and Counseling Center on the second floor, and they accept walk-ins, appointments, hybrid services, so, like, in person or on Zoom. But yeah.
And yeah, again, promoting Therapy Fluffies. It is on December 4th from noon, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at both libraries, Orbach and Rivera. So come out and pet some cute dogs and cats, and we'll see you there.
Bye.
Good luck on finals.
Good luck.